People do not always lose someone because love disappears. Sometimes they lose someone because pride stands in the doorway and says, "Not yet." Not yet when the heart wants to apologize. Not yet when the wound is still small. Not yet when one honest sentence could still save everything. And the saddest thing about not yet is this. Sometimes, by the time you are ready to speak, life is no longer ready to listen. There was once a man named Daniel. He was 32 years old, quiet, hardworking, and respected by almost everyone in his town. He owned a small repair shop near the old bus station, where people brought broken radios, lamps, watches, and phones. Daniel was good at fixing things. If a wire was burned, he could connect it again. If a clock stopped ticking, he could make it move again. If a radio lost its voice, he could bring music back into it. People often said, Daniel can repair anything. But there was one thing Daniel did not know how to repair: a hurt heart. Daniel had an older brother named Samuel. Samuel was the opposite of him. Daniel was silent. Samuel was warm. Daniel saved his words. Samuel gave his words freely. Daniel carried his pain inside. Samuel always tried to open it with kindness. When their parents died, Samuel became more than a brother. He became the person who checked on Daniel, brought him food when he worked too late, reminded him to rest, and stood beside him during the hardest years of his life. But as Daniel grew older, something changed inside him. He began to hate being helped. Not because Samuel was cruel, not because Samuel looked down on him, but because every act of kindness made Daniel feel weak. Samuel would say, "Brother, do not carry everything alone." Daniel would smile without warmth and answer, "I am fine." But he was not fine. He was tired. He was proud. And deep inside, he was angry that his life still felt heavy while other people seemed to breathe easily. One rainy evening, Samuel came to Daniel's repair shop carrying a small bag of food. The rain was hitting the roof like thousands of fingers. The street outside was empty. Daniel was bent over a broken clock, trying to fix a tiny spring. Samuel placed the food on the table. "You forgot to eat again," he said gently. Daniel did not look up. "I told you I am busy." Samuel sat down quietly. "I know. But being busy does not mean you should destroy yourself." Daniel's hand froze. Something about those words touched a wound inside him. Destroy yourself. He heard concern, but his pride heard insult. He put the clock down and looked at Samuel. "Why, you always speak like I'm a child." Samuel was surprised. "I did not mean it that way." "But you always mean it that way," Daniel said, his voice rising. "You come here with food, advice, pity, and that soft face like I cannot survive without you." Samuel stood slowly. "Daniel, I am your brother." Daniel laughed coldly. "Yes, and you never let me forget it." The room became silent except for the rain. Samuel looked hurt, but he tried to stay calm. "I only care about you." Daniel's anger had already taken control of his tongue. "No," he said. "You care about feeling needed. That is what you love. You love acting like the good brother. You love standing above me, pretending to save me." Samuel's face changed. Not with anger, with pain. The kind of pain that does not shout because it is too deep. He looked at the food on the table, then back at Daniel. "Is that what you really think of me?" Daniel's heart whispered no, but pride answered first. "Yes." Samuel nodded slowly. He picked up his wet coat. Before leaving, he said only one sentence. "Then I will stop troubling you." He walked out into the rain. Daniel stood there, breathing hard, still angry, still proud, still pretending he had won. But after the door closed, the repair shop felt different. Too quiet. The food remained on the table. The clock in front of him still did not work. And for the first time that night, Daniel realized something painful. Some silence does not feel peaceful. Some silence feels like the beginning of loss. The next morning, Daniel woke with a heavy chest. He remembered Samuel's face. He remembered the sentence, "Then I will stop troubling you." He wanted to go to him, but pride came again. It said, "Wait, he will come first." So Daniel waited. 1 day passed. Samuel did not come. 2 days passed. No message. 3 days passed. Daniel picked up his phone many times. He typed, "Brother, I'm sorry." Then he deleted it. He told himself, "I will say it properly when I see him." But he did not go. Because apologizing is easy on the heart, but hard on the tongue. A week later, Daniel saw Samuel across the market. Samuel was buying vegetables. He looked tired, older somehow, as if one sentence had placed years on his shoulders. Daniel's heart moved. He wanted to walk to him. He wanted to say, "I did not mean it." Samuel looked up and saw him. For 1 second, both brothers stood still. That second was enough. Enough to heal. Enough to begin again. Enough for one of them to step forward. But Daniel did not move. He only nodded. Samuel nodded back. Then they both walked away. That night, Daniel could not sleep. He kept seeing Samuel's eyes in the market. The next morning, he finally decided, "I will go today." But before he could leave, a customer came with an urgent repair. Then another came. Then rain started again. Then Daniel told himself, "Tomorrow. Tomorrow." The most dangerous word pride ever invented. The next day, Daniel went to Samuel's house. The door was closed. A neighbor stood outside, speaking quietly with 2 women. Daniel felt something cold move through him. "Where is Samuel?" he asked. The neighbor turned. Her face softened in a way that frightened him. "Daniel, you did not hear?" His mouth went dry. "Hear what?" "Samuel collapsed last night. They took him to the hospital." Daniel ran. He did not remember the road. He did not remember the people. He did not remember the rain. He only remembered one thought beating inside his head. "Please let me say sorry." When he reached the hospital, he found Samuel lying in a narrow bed near the window. His face was pale. His breathing was weak. A thin blanket covered his chest. Daniel stood at the door, suddenly smaller than he had ever felt. Samuel turned his head slowly. Their eyes met. Daniel walked closer. For the first time in many years, his pride had no voice. No defense, no excuse, no anger, only regret. He sat beside the bed and held Samuel's hand. It was warm, but weak. Daniel opened his mouth. The words were there, but they came out broken. "Brother." Samuel looked at him with tired kindness. Daniel's eyes filled. "I am sorry." Samuel closed his eyes for a moment. Daniel cried harder. "I was cruel. You were helping me, and I turned your love into an insult. You never looked down on me. I was looking down on myself. I was ashamed of needing someone, so I punished the only person who stayed." Samuel's fingers moved slightly. Daniel leaned closer. "Please forgive me." Samuel breathed slowly. Then he whispered, "I forgave you before you came." Those words broke Daniel completely. Forgiveness does not remove regret. It only shows how unnecessary your pride was. Daniel cried like a child. Samuel said, "Do not wait so long next time." Daniel nodded quickly. "I will not. I promise." Samuel gave a faint smile. But life is not always generous with second chances. 3 days later, Samuel died. The whole town came to the funeral. People spoke about his kindness, his patience, his quiet sacrifices. They spoke about the meals he brought to the lonely, the debts he paid, the children he helped through school. Daniel stood beside the grave and listened. Every good word about Samuel felt like a stone placed on his chest. Not because Samuel did not deserve them, but because Daniel remembered the last month of his brother's life. The rain, the food on the table, the cruel sentence, the market, the nod, the delay, the tomorrow that came too late. After the funeral, Daniel returned to his repair shop. Everything was exactly where he had left it. The broken clock still sat on the table. The bag Samuel had brought that rainy night was gone, but Daniel could still see it. He sat down and picked up the clock. For hours, he tried to fix it, but his hands kept shaking. At last, an old customer entered the shop and saw him staring at the clock. "Can you repair it?" the man asked. Daniel looked at the clock for a long time. Then he said quietly, "Some things can be repaired after they break." He paused, "But some things must be protected before they break." From that day forward, Daniel changed. Not suddenly, not perfectly, but deeply. Whenever he was wrong, he apologized quickly, even when his voice shook, even when his pride burned, even when the other person was also wrong. Because Daniel had learned something most people learn too late. An apology does not make you small. It stops your pride from making the wound bigger. Years later, a young man came into Daniel's shop with a broken radio. He looked angry and restless. While Daniel repaired it, the young man said, "I argued with my father yesterday. He keeps calling me, but I will not answer." Let him feel what he did. Daniel's hand stopped. He looked at the young man. What did he do? The young man shrugged. He spoke harshly. I spoke harshly too, but I will not apologize first. Daniel placed the tool down. Outside, rain began to fall. For a moment, he was no longer an old repairman. He was back in that shop, back with the food on the table, back with Samuel walking into the rain. Daniel looked at the young man and said, "Do you want advice?" The young man nodded. Daniel said, "Call him." The young man frowned. "Now?" "Yes, now. But I am still angry." Daniel's voice became soft. "Then call him angry. Call him hurt. Call him with a shaking voice. But call him while he can still answer." The young man became quiet. Daniel continued, "Pride will tell you to wait until you feel ready. But regret does not care when you were ready. Regret only remembers that you had a chance." The young man looked down at his phone. His fingers hesitated. Then he called. Daniel turned away and looked out the window. The rain was falling harder now. A few moments later, the young man whispered into the phone, "Father, I am sorry too." Daniel closed his eyes. And for the first time in many years, the sound of rain did not feel like punishment. It felt like mercy. Because even though Daniel could not go back and save his own moment, maybe he had saved someone else's. And maybe that is what wisdom is. A pain you failed to escape, becoming a warning that helps another person survive. So remember this. Do not delay the apology your heart already knows you owe. Do not let pride turn a small wound into a permanent distance. Do not wait for the perfect mood, the perfect time, or the perfect words. Sometimes the perfect words are very simple. "I was wrong. I hurt you. I am sorry. I still care." Say them while the person can still hear you. Because one day, the chair may be empty, the phone may stay silent, the door may never open again, and you will not regret losing the argument. You will regret protecting your pride when you should have protected the relationship. The apology you delay today can become the regret you carry forever. Like this video if the story spoke to you. Share it with someone who needs this message today. And comment below, what is one reason you still choose hope, even in hard times? Don't forget to subscribe to Meratic Tales for more simple English stories with deep life lessons. Until next time, stay calm, stay grateful, and keep moving forward in life.